we're talking about a lot of beefs, rap beefs and other beefs. So there's a different kind of beef that's in the news.
Okay.
So recently, there's been an exchange of words between Shaquille O'Neal and Shannon Sharpe, right?
Okay.
We've got two former athletic greats, Shaquille O'Neal basketball, Shannon Sharpe on the football field.
Yeah.
For those of you who are more recent into knowing who these folks are, these guys were absolutely amazing at their respective sports when they played. So let's go back a little bit. TNT network, the network TNT has a show, NBA Inside NBA.
Yeah.
During the show, Shaquille O'Neal, along with the other hosts, Charles Barkley, Jimmy the Jet, and Ernie, talked about Djokovic, who won MVP again. Shaquille O'Neal essentially said, no disrespect, right? But he thought Shea Alexander should have won. He goes on to shout out some of Shea's stats, but he really felt that Shea should have won.
Okay.
What that also did is invoke some of his own kind of personal feelings, right? And how he won only one MVP award, he being Shaquille O'Neal. And so he took Shea's not winning it as a slight, which kind of reminded him of how he was also worthy of winning more, but only won one. Fast forward after that, Shannon Sharpe is on, I want to say First Take is the show that he does with Stephen A. That was a topic. Shannon Sharpe brings up the fact that Shaquille O'Neal, when he was playing, despite the fact that he was the league's most dominant player back then, he didn't do his best. There were many times where Shaq was overweight. He didn't practice hard. Hell, Shaq himself is on record going back or talking about himself, saying, "Hey, I should have practiced more. I should have had more focus on my diet." So Shannon used that in saying, essentially, making the correlation between you can't say that you should have won more awards when you're also saying, I could have did more. I didn't do everything I could, right? Shaquille O'Neal didn't like that. Shaquille O'Neal then came out with some statements, wrote some excoriating comments towards Shannon, and then goes so far as to make a diss song.
I love it.
Makes it, and no truth to the rumor.
He's still rapping?
Yeah, he's still rapping. He did something.
Yeah.
So I listened to the song and stuff, and I was kind of nodding my head to the track and everything.
Okay.
I thought it was cute.
Okay.
And he came out, was kind of dissing him and stuff. But one of the things that Shaq did, Shannon then responded on his show, Nightcap, and he was on there with Chad Johnson, and essentially said, "Listen, man, I don't want any problems. No big deal." Right. And Shannon definitely took the high road. It was like, listen, no big deal. Right. You didn't do what you thought you should have done back then. I was pointing it out.
Yeah.
But what Shannon did, he took the high road, but then said, look, I'm not who you are. Right. Because Shaq talked about his money, his fame, and all the stuff that he had accomplished. Right. And Shannon said, I don't have your money.
Right.
I have your fame.
Yep.
I don't have any of those things. Probably never will.
Right.
He goes, however, one thing that you can't take away from him is everything that he had, meaning Shannon, physically, he left it on the field. He never, ever, ever cheated anything.
Okay.
Can you say that, Shaquille O'Neal?
Right.
So my question to you is there a comeback for what Shannon said to Shaquille O'Neal? Is there validity? And I'll just expand on that by saying Shannon Sharpe, 7th round, last round of the draft.
Yep.
Division II football player, 7th round, overcomes all those obstacles, goes on to be a Hall of Fame player.
Right.
Is that valid? and there was that a mic drop to Shaquille O'Neal?
I don't think it was. I don't think it's a mic drop. The whole story is crazy to me because obviously these guys are opinionated men. They're both great athletes, and I don't think just because Shaquille said to himself, he felt like he could have done more, or he could have been better or whatever like that. I mean, how many people, I mean, you and I, right? In your job and my job and all of us, all of our jobs out there, don't we all feel like we can do better, even if other people are looking at us and be like, oh my God, Kay, you are great at your job. How many times do I tell you that you are great, right? I said, man, you're a great businessman. You're a great this. You're like, you tell me the same thing, right? And I might feel to myself, oh, well, I'm not doing great, but I really am great. And you are really great. So the point that just because Shaq feels that, he could have done more, whatever, doesn't mean that he wasn't great, because he was great.
Yeah,
right?
but that's different, Jay.
But how's it different? What do you mean?
It's different because it's one thing for someone to say to you, hey, you're great, and you don't see it in you, right? But others do. But you're out there working hard and doing the job, and people see the greatness in you. It's different when Shaq, because Shaq knew he was skipping practice. He knew he wasn't adhering to his diet. When you are doing things, or in this case, not doing things to be great, that's valid. That's not one of those things where I'm working hard and I don't really notice it. He was cheating the system. Listen, as a fan, I remember watching Shaq. He was incredibly dominant. He was a great player. But you'd see him at times he was overweight. He was out of breath. And you would just sit there and think how much better he could be if he took it more serious. The battles with him and Kobe when they were on the Lakers together. Yeah. He used to drive Kobe crazy.
Yeah, Kobe called him out all the time.
Kobe called him out all the time. Right. So there's validity there. It's not the same thing as someone working hard, doing their best, but to them, they're just doing the job, and other people see the greatness in them, and them saying, hey, I don't see it, I'm just out here doing my job. Shaq himself knew he wasn't. All of us saw it. And listen, could he have still, listen, the 2005, in my opinion, he should have won another MVP. That went to Steve Nash.
Right.
Steve Nash, and one could argue Steve Nash shouldn't have got it in 06 either.
Right.
But 2005, that was definitely.
Was his numbers? So his numbers stated that, that he should have won another one.
Yeah,
Shaq at the time, right?
Yeah, he was Miami Heat Shaq.
Right.
He wasn't Lakers Shaq, but he was still good, man. He was still dominant. He was still a double-double, 20 and 12 or something like that.
So the fans vote on that, right? Don't the fans vote on that?
No, the
fans don't vote on that.
No, the fans don't vote on it. The fans vote on the All-Star.
On the All-Star, okay.
Yeah, the attendees for the starters. But no, that doesn't come from.
So the league votes on that.
Yeah,
so,
that goes from. The
yeah, but how many? So how are you going to argue on? Listen, if you don't get the vote, you don't get the vote. It is what it is. Like, the fact that he's complaining that he only got one or whatever, like. It's like that's in the past. It's done. Like, why are you? Listen, he can give his opinions on him that he should have won over Jokic, right? He should have gave his opinion on that, and that's fine because that's his job, right? But to start taking it back to you now, like, why are you even taking it there?
Because why do we care? No, well, why does he care about the stats and the MVPs? It's because it's sports, right? And so it's barbershop talk. Who's the best who ever done it? By position, what year, all those things.
Right.
And you use someone's accomplishments to qualify them, to justify them, right? How many debates have we heard or participated in where Jordan versus LeBron? Right? And so we start pulling out stats, championships, MVPs, those things, things of that nature.
Right.
I think there's something to be said for Shaquille O'Neal to say, hey, he is the most dominant player to ever play the game. Okay, that's a designation that no one can take from him, right? However, I think what people believe is he could easily have been the greatest player to ever play the game. And if he did not cheat himself or cheat the game by not taking it more serious.
You think so? You think if he put in more work, you think he would have been the greatest player to ever play? I don't even think that.
Absolutely. 100%. Listen, Shaquille O'Neal, young Shaquille O'Neal was made in a laboratory, man. That to 7'1", 315.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you're the greatest player.
No. I'm telling you.
You were born that way. You were born with that height.
Listen, he was born that way, and a lot were born that way, but he had the physical tools to be that way.
Right.
Shaquille O'Neal. So here's the thing: as ball players, right? There's two kind of ball players. Basketball. There's will and there's skill. Right, and you got a lot of those guys who like run, jump, run rim to rim, and they've made a great living just by being a will guy. They try hard, and then there's often skill, right? You get the other ones who are the skill guys. Yeah, the idea that Shaquille O'Neal was essentially or could be a skill guy at his size. He wasn't just physically crazy; he was a ball player, like. Right. I remember he was like, they had the, I think he was, it's like some sort of game or something like that, like a flag football or something like he's out there like running like the wind. He could do everything. Grab the ball off the rim, dribble it up the court. He just didn't. He was different. If he wanted to, there's so much more he could have done. And so I think we were sometimes distracted by what he wasn't doing, right? So much so that you were disappointed by what he didn't do or what he was capable of doing, right? That you just didn't appreciate, or you wanted to appreciate more, and he more of what he could have done, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and he knows it. He's acknowledged it.
So you think if he had the Mamba mentality, he would have been better than Kobe?
Without a doubt.
I don't think he had the skill set like Kobe did.
But he did, without a doubt. Listen,
I don't think.
And now, mind you, this is
they're just
not
different players.
This is not just Shaquille.
Right.
I often said the greatest. What made Michael so great is Michael had God-given gifts. Right. But he had the attitude of the 12th man on the bench. Right. Many of us, not just in sports, but in life, those of us where things come easy to us, we don't work as hard at it.
Yeah. Right.
We just don't. It's just human nature. That's Shaquille O'Neal. Okay. It was so easy for him, even without him being his best. He was the most dominant player. He's putting up gaudy numbers. Right. Jordan, who was physically gifted, put the work in and played and wanted to win and practice and work as if he had no skill, as if he were the last man on the bench, as if like ... That's the difference. When you can marry those two, if Shaquille O'Neal, and this is what I'm saying, if Shaquille O'Neal, with the physical gifts that he had that attitude, right, that would make him put the practice in, to be devoted to his diet, he could have been the greatest player. That's what I'm saying. Okay. And if we use the Jordan kind of example, that's where he is. That's the air that he could have been in. He was not at his best and was a a double-double machine, and was still one of the most dominant players, won multiple championships, and you weren't even at your best. That's where I think is his legacy. And he doesn't like to hear it.
Well, he admitted it, so it's fine.
But he's admitted it.
He done great for himself in his career and in his post NBA career. He's doing even greater. Like I heard that he never touched one penny of his NBA salary, that he only lived off of his endorsements. I was like, damn.